close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Star Sport podcast. My name is Jack McCarran of the Southern Star and I'm joined as always by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. On today's show we'll be building up to Saturday's Munster football final between Cork and Kerry at Páirc Uí Chaoimh and speaking to Castlehaven's Brian Hurley.
We'll also chat the Cork Jewel star Libby Coppinger from Kealkill, who was involved in the Cork Ladies Munster final win over Waterford for her field last Sunday. Libby was also in action for the Cork camogie team on Saturday as they beat Clare 3-19 to 9 points in the first round of the All-Ireland Championship.
Now Kieran, before we preview Saturday's Munster final and hear from Brian Hurley, your last word column from last week's Southern Star, it's also available to read for free online, is causing quite a stir on both sides of the county bounds, and we touched on the themes of it briefly on a podcast a few weeks back. But just to set the scene for Munster final week, we're around 4 days away. What was your column about, and how have people been reacting to it?
What it was, I suppose I'm in a unique position here, Jack. For those that don't already know, I'm a Kerry man. I'm a Kerry man working in West Cork. I'm a Kerry man working in a West Cork newspaper writing about Cork football. So, like I said in the column, that kind of muddies the waters a small bit, but it shouldn't. So it was my advice to Cork people on how to survive Kerry folk in the build-up to Saturday's Munster final, because Kerry folk, by their nature, our nature, can be an insufferable lot when it comes to football. So I have a unique position that I have a foot on both sides of the county bounds. So this was my advice for Cork people on how to, I suppose, get through what can be a fairly tough week for Cork football fans, considering, I suppose, the different trajectories of both counties in recent years. So it's getting different reaction, and depends on what side of the county bound you're from. From people back in Kerry, I've been accused of treason. I might not be left back into Kerry again. My passport could be revoked, but I think Cork people can see where I'm coming from when they see the reaction of Kerry people on Twitter. I think I was bang on the money.
Yeah, so obviously there are Kerry folk trying to stir it up by claiming Cork are favourites for Saturday's final, but like breaking it down and getting realistic here. I'm not going to get your prediction for the game just yet, obviously, but from a realistic standpoint, Kerry are obviously favourites. They're hot favourites with the bookies.
Yeah.
How do you see the game panning out from a Cork perspective, and what do you think realistically would be a good result?
Like I said there, Jack, Kerry have to be overwhelming favourites. Kerry beat Cork by 3-18 to 2-4 in last year's Munster final, and we're only 12 months on from that. Kerry are a team that were in the Division 1 League final. Cork are a team that were relegated to Division 3 of the Football League. So there's a big gulf in class between the two counties. And this Kerry team, I think, is going for the 7 in a row too in Munster. People talk about the Leinster Football Championship being one-sided, but it's been the same in Munster for since 2013. Kerry have won every senior football Munster Championship, and so there is a big gulf between them. I think for Cork going into this, it's so important to get a performance, because we've spoken about it before, Jack. The big problem with Cork football teams over the last number of years is how inconsistent they can be. Even rewind back to last year, Cork beat Tipperary away in the Munster Senior Football Final with a good performance. I think they won by 10 points in Thurles, and there was an optimistic mood ahead of the Munster final, and then Kerry go and they trash. Like, it's 3-18 to 2-4. Like, it was a hammering, and it was embarrassing at the end. It was a really, really bad day or bad evening for Cork football. So I think Cork need a performance first and foremost. They also need a plan. Remember last year's Munster final, Cork were wiped out at midfield, and it was wave after wave after wave of Kerry attack, and the Cork defence just crumbled. Cork really need to keep it very tight at the back. They need to at least break even in midfield. But if not that, at least have a kick-out strategy where they can get the ball forward. Because when you've the likes of Brian Hurley, Mark Collins in the inside line, and Rory Dean probably he'll be in the half forward line coming deep as well. You have fellas who can hurt Kerry, but you need to get them the ball. You really have to get them the ball. So Cork need to get the ball. I know it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But you really need to get the ball into their attack. If it becomes like last year, when it is wave after wave of Kerry attack, it'll end up one-sided again.
And so we've spoken about Cork's preparation in recent weeks. We know how they're going to set up and what we think is likely to happen in relation to their game plan. But then from a Kerry perspective, obviously there's been loads of coverage from the Kerry media and the national media about a supposed injury crisis in the kingdom. There was a headline in the Kerry Man or Kerry's Eye, the Walking Wounded was the reference to, of course, the television show The Walking Dead. But where are Kerry at the minute? They obviously weren't overly impressive in the Munster semi-final, but they still got the job done. They beat Dublin in the league. What kind of Kerry can we expect? And we want to hear this from the perspective of someone from a neutral perspective, not the Kerry promoting.
Not the Kerry era. I suppose go back to the Munster semi-final. So Kerry against Clare. Kerry won that by 6 points in the end up in Innis. And Kerry were getting slated after for their second half performance. But rewind back to their first half, they missed 3 goal chances in the first 15 minutes. If any of those have gone in, you could have had a situation that you had in Páirc Uí Rinn when Cork hit Limerick for 3-7 in the opening 19-20 minutes. So as much as Kerry were being slated, that first half performance, they were quite good. James O'Donoghue scored 1-1 before he went off injured, and when you have an inside line of James O'Donoghue, Paul Ganey and David Clifford, like that would trouble any defence in the country. So in terms of walking wounded, that was peak Kerry era, and that's what I wrote about in last week's column as well. Like, if you believe that, you're a fool, because most of those players, if not all of those players, will be available. I know James O'Donoghue is still an injury out. There's still a concern over him. He's the most worrying from a Kerry perspective. But even players that they were missing against Clare, the likes of Paul Murphy, who's been a superb player for Kerry in the half-back line over the last couple of years, and Jack Barry and Darragh Moynihan, they're all fit for selection. So Kerry have almost a full-strength team besides the long-term injuries. The likes of Peter Crowley's out for the year with a cruciate. But on the other hand, in Cork have their own long-term injuries, the likes of Sam Ryan is out for the year and so on. So yeah, Kerry are where they want to be actually, Jack, this week, because there's something to work on, and that's what Kerry like to be. People are kind of raising a couple of questions about them after the Clare performance, so that gives them an angle going into this game, as if they have a point to prove again. When the reality is they don't have a point to prove against this Cork team, because they are a better team and they should win the game. So, but that's how Kerry work. They just want some sort of angle, something to gnaw on to give them that edge going into the game. And the edge that they have is that second half against Clare, when they were sloppy and Clare outworked them, and the work rate wasn't there by Kerry. So, to answer the question, Kerry are where they want to be right now. And the fact that people are starting to talk up Cork a small bit too, which is, it's almost typical in the run up to Munster final, kind of. I know hope springs eternal, but I just think burst that bubble with a big needle, kind of get a big dash of realism, and just realise where Cork are right now.
Okay, well, that's Kieran McCarthy's thoughts, and we're going to get Brian Hurley's thoughts in just a minute. He's been the man of the moment for Cork so far in this year's championship. But just one other thing I want to bring up with you, Kieran. There's been a tweet doing the rounds on Twitter this morning that's got a lot of traction, and it was from a man by the name of Brian O'Donovan, who's a Kilmacabea GAA fan, and he said, and people wonder why Cork footballers are badly supported. Munster GAA not helping by charging €40 for the stand and €30 for the terrace for Saturday's Munster football final. Who in their right mind would pay those prices? So that tweet has got a lot of traction. We've been tagged in it several times, I suppose, people looking for our reaction and your thoughts in particular, I suppose. Do you see that as being overpriced for a Munster football final, or is it par for the course in today's climate?
I need to double check whether if it's the pre-purchase ticket, could be €35, and if it is, I think it's the same price as last year's final. So if you purchase your ticket beforehand, you get that $5 off, 35 for the stand, and I think 25 for the terrace. It's worth pointing out too that the minor final is on at 4:45 beforehand, so you are getting 2 games there. Is it expensive? It probably is, yeah. To be quite realistic, it is. You could easily you could easily bring it down to 25, 30 euro, even 25 euro for those two games. That would represent good value. And as well, because what you don't want is a half-empty Páirc Uí Chaoimh on Saturday night. You want a big crowd there. And you could get a big crowd if it was priced right, because the Cork hurlers aren't in a Munster final this year. They missed out on that. So this is the only Cork senior team that is in a Munster final. It's in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Hopefully it'll be a nice evening on Saturday up in the city. So if it was more reasonably priced, I think you could get a bigger crowd. I know some people have an issue with the throw-in time of 7 o'clock. Let's say people out in Beara, if you're travelling down to Beara after a game, you won't get home till all hours. But that is what it is, I actually like the 7 o'clock throw-in. I like that feeling of an evening time throw-in. If you get a nice big crowd there, you get a nice atmosphere going, and then head into the city after. So I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, it is dear.
Okay, thanks, Kieran. Well, one man who I'm sure won't be paying too much attention to any of the Kerry coverage or the ticket pricing is Brian Hurley from Castlehaven. And he's been in great form of late. And he spoke at the media day for Saturday's game to Dennis Hurley.
You're happy enough, I suppose, with how things are at the moment?
Yeah, sure. Look, I'm happy. You're playing good football. Back in the setup. It's every young fella's dream to be lining up for a Munster final in the park. What I mean?
Well, was the Limerick game more of a relief than anything else?
I wouldn't say a relief, and I'm not being smart, because relief is there's pressure on. There's not pressure on, you know what I mean? It's if you're here every night, the fellas are hopping, are hopping. You have to be on your toes everywhere, fellas are knocking on the door. Michael, Sherlock are only itching to come in, John didn't get a look in the whole league. He started against, everyone's pushing each other, what I mean? So, I think, if fellas are on about, a relief over Limerick, I think it's nonsense, to be honest, because, I think we're always favourites going into the game. We blew them out of the water in 15 minutes, and, it just shows that the intensity in training and stuff is there, and, and there's a bit of spring about us.
And, Is it the case that the public's perception of the Cork football team is a lot different to the reality? It was after the relegation and after the poor performances last year, maybe the fans would be kind of, saying, "Oh, why should we go and watch them?" Whereas you, like you're saying, within the camp, there's a strong vibe and kind of a good attitude.
Yeah. Oh, there is 100%. You know what I mean? The Cork perception has been, fairly demanding always, hurling or football, no matter what you play, soccer, Cork City, look at it, you know what I mean? When you're doing great, they're the best team in the world, and you see this year at Cork City, things, it's easy to swing the different ways, and same in football and hurling, but look, you can't leave that bother you, you know what I mean? You're here to do a job, you're here to train, to get the most out of yourself and push everyone else beside you, and that's happening. It's simple as, challenge games, trainings, you've seen the champions' performance, things are fairly good and positive, you know what I mean? And I believe if you work hard and push each other in training, you're going to get performances, and hopefully that'll come Saturday.
Is that attitude, we'll say, even stronger with you, given how close you came, we'll say, to or the bad injuries you've suffered, the time out you've had, that you want to make the most of the rest of your time, however long that would be?
Yeah. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, and I couldn't say it strong enough. When you think your career was over, and to get another chance at it and kind of come in at a mature level, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's like a new start, only you've been here before, if you know what I'm trying to say. And it's I feel like a young fella with an older head, if you know what I'm trying to say, and you see things happening and you give a voice to younger fellas and they take it on board and you see them doing it, which is, it gives you a little kick in, saying, geez, these boys, these want to be here as well, and they're pushing themselves, so without a doubt, you take something from a kid or something and he'll only want it back, you know what I mean? I'm the same, you think you want what you can't have, and sitting up there for 2 years watching it, or down in Clarny watch it, you want it, and when you get back you make sure you grab it with two hands, and you don't let anyone else grab it in front of you, because the amount of work you do to get back and take it, and sacrifices you made were frightening all along, and the amount of work you put in with the medical team and stuff, no one sees that. But look, for me, I was only saying it to Kieran, I've done proper interviews since 2015. I wanted to do my talk in the field. I wanted to get back first, and hopefully I can do that on Saturday night.
When it happened the second time, was it a worse feeling than when it happened the first time? Were you thinking, we're back down to zero here, like?
Well, like, when you're told you wouldn't play at this level again and that they weren't operating you, it's a fairly frightening experience, even for a fella that tries to be a bit of a hard man, like, that's not easy, like, and that's putting it fairly soft, like, like, your thing that makes you the most enjoyable thing in the world and the most fantasy thing you want to play and you can't have it. It's scary in a way, like, and it's hard to describe if you haven't been in that situation, but I can tell you fellas with injuries in similar sports and whatnot, who I've talked to have understand it 100%, and like, to be standing here in the park togged out ready to go training, like, it's a mini kind of dream. It's weird feeling, like, and it's hard to talk to fella about it, but every night you come training here, it's easy to get going and easy to get up for, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and like, were there points in the recovery where you doubted your ability to come back, or did you always have that absolute determination? Anyone
that knows me, I have a bit of that, like, you know what I mean, but I'm not going to lie to you, there was just 100% there was lows times, like, I came out of a brace the second time after 9 weeks in a brace, 90 degrees, and my left leg was a third the size of my right leg, that gave me a fair fright, and trying to say to myself, how am I going to get back here, like, this is impossible, like, and but look, I've never said a word impossible, I suppose, when you have a serious team around you and positive guys to push you, and a very good medical team, Dr. Connolly, Ado, Brian O'Connell, Conal Lane, all these guys with top class XSPs and top class contacts to get you in the right places, they put you on the track, and it's up to yourself then to go, like, but I did have lows, I'm not going to lie to you, but look, it's a determination, I have it in me, I think, wherever I came from, I think I was born with it, just keep pushing yourself. People doubted me, people said that I wouldn't make it back, and that just gave me more appetite to drive on, here we are. It's a long old road, but
and like, you played last year, but I suppose you weren't at absolute sharpness.
No, like, I would say, if I was being honest with you, look, and I like to be honest, like, I was there 120% mentally, but physically the body wasn't following the head, like, things I wanted to do, I couldn't, unfortunately. It was just the body wasn't moving as good, like, it wasn't as sharp, it wasn't, I suppose I did trim down and stuff, but it just wasn't happening for me. And look, we did a lot of work this winter, we did a lot of work early pre-season, even I missed a lot of the league, I was doing extra work, and I believe that, the body is in good nick. I've leaned down, nearly 5 kilos. I feel lighter on top. And, the legs just seem to be moving better. And it's, I suppose, look, as I say, hard work pays off, like, and, as I say, here we are. And
so were you almost expecting a performance like the one against Limerick, or was it better than you could have even hoped for?
No, look, if I was being honest with you, and I'm not coming across big head, I think there's more in me, like, I think, being honest, the real test is going to be Saturday night and see where I'm at. I feel very good in the last month or two in training. I've been sharp and stuff like that, but look, you're only good as your last game, and we'll see how we go on Saturday night. And
there is a belief in the camp, like, that you're going out to win, it's not just a case of this being a free hit and kind of focus on the qualifier game.
Not a hope, not a hope. Like, if you think like you're going to back down from any opposition, especially Kerry, I think, you're interviewing the wrong man or the wrong lads around here, being honest with you, like, like, that's being straight up with you, like, I don't paw off questions. I'll be straight up with you. I love challenges. I love big games, and this is what I thrive on, and I can't wait for it. And there seem to be all talking them up. I just can't wait for it. Like, it's a 2-horse race. You see Liverpool against Barca 3-0 down. Liverpool came back and win it. You look at Anthony Joshua against Ruiz. Ruiz knocked him out. Supposedly Joshua was unbeatable. Like, you work hard enough, you put it in, and you believe in it, you won't be far away.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports Podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.
Welcome back to the Star Sport podcast. And Kieran, Kealkill's Libby Coppinger is a busy woman at the minute, lining out for both the Cork ladies football and camogie teams. But luckily for us, she made some time to speak with you after their win in the Munster final over Waterford last weekend.
Yeah, Jack, very busy weekend for Libby Coppinger. On Saturday, she started for the Cork camogie team as they won their opening game in the All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship. They won away to Clare at 6 Mile Bridge. And then on Sunday evening, Libby swapped codes and she started for the Cork ladies football team as they won the Munster football final against Waterford at Dungarvan. So a really successful weekend for Libby. 2 wins in 2 different codes. So I caught up with Libby earlier to have a chat about her busy weekend and how she juggles camogie and football. We're delighted to be joined on the Star Sport podcast by Cork Jewel star Libby Coppinger. First off, Libby, congrats on a great weekend. It was a very busy weekend for you with the Cork camogie team and the football team. But we'll start on Saturday night, 6 Mile Bridge, the first game of the Liberty Insurance Senior Camogie Championship. A good win for Cork, 3-19 to 0-9 against Clare. You started, so that was the start to your busy weekend, Libby.
Yeah, exactly. We knew it was coming up, but like we always say, it's kind of, we want to be playing the matches, and it's just great that there was no clash or anything like that, so we could get the recovery in. But yeah, it was great. We knew it'd be in with a battle heading up to Clare, and it was just great to come out with a result and get the ball rolling for this championship.
How important is it to get that first win in the group and get off to a winning start?
Oh, it's crucial. It kind of just gives you momentum, and you can keep building then for the rest of it. And you kind of can't really be expecting to win any matches, so you just have to take it all as they come. And just thankfully we got the win Saturday night.
After that, then with the Munster ladies football final on Sunday, what did you do after the game? Like when you came home from 6 Mile Bridge, did you go back down home to Kealkill, or where did you go? Like what was your preparation in terms of the finish up of the game on Saturday and the Munster ladies football final on Sunday in Dungarvan?
I came home to Kealkill that night just to kind of get a good sleep in my own bed and stuff like that. But we made sure we got a good bite to eat with the camogie team. That was very important just to get our recovery in, and then a good night's sleep was crucial. And then just kind of, your basic foam rolling, stretching, all that jazz, just making sure you've got your fuel and your bodies are covered enough to go again on Sunday. But in a way, it was annoying that Sunday's game was so late in the evening for people travelling and stuff like that. But myself and Hannah kind of couldn't have asked for much more time. We got the as much, nearly 24 hours of recovery before we had to go again. So that was good for us.
So I'm presuming you weren't back to Kealkill till probably past midnight on Saturday night, would it have been that late?
I only went down with the bus I got off in Corporate Court. So Mom went up to the match and I came down with her. So that kind of cut a bit of time off the travel. I'm not actually sure. I don't think it was that late. I'd say we were home maybe 11ish, maybe 10, 11. So it was okay.
Sunday morning, so Sunday afternoon, what time did you link up with the Cork football team?
So we met in Rochestown Park Hotel at 2:45 for our pre-match meal then, and headed off in the bus then together up to Dungarvan.
And then, because I think you played 51 minutes of the game on Saturday night against Clare, and you started then again on the Munster ladies final for the footballers. When did you find out that you were starting in both games?
So football actually named their team during the week, so I kind of knew I'd be featuring for some part anyway on Sunday, and then we didn't find out until Saturday morning about camogie. So.
And then when it came to the game in Dungarvan, the Munster final against Waterford, like when you were starting off, it's your second game in 24 hours. Would the legs feel a bit heavy? Would you feel a bit tired, or are you just rearing for road?
I think we were rearing for road. There was a good atmosphere around the place. We wanted to put in a good performance. I was trying to just not think about the night before, because sometimes, when you tell yourself you're tired, you actually are worse off than you are. So you kind of just have to put it in the back of your mind, forget that you've played a match. And the fact that we won on Saturday was a big boost going into Sunday, because you were in good form and everything like that. So all that helped. But I got another rub when I got to the match on Saturday or Sunday as well. So that kind of just helped flush anything out of the body that, could be making you sore or anything like that.
And how was the preparation for that game on Sunday evening against Waterford? Because you beat them so convincingly earlier on in the Munster Championship. I think it was at 22, 24 points just a couple of weeks ago. Was it hard to always get up for that game when you beat them so convincingly, or?
Like I suppose it's in the back of your mind a little bit, but at the same time, we know Waterford are a great side, so you kind of can't be, taking any chances or taking the foot off the pedal. So we just put in a good few weeks of training. Like we had a match against Kerry the following week, and that was good to build on again. But yeah, like we knew they'd be throwing other stuff at us, and like they probably went a bit more defensive, and we found it tough to break it down, I suppose, in the first half against the Wind. But no, like as when it's a Munster Championship, you're always going to be up for the match. A Munster final, you want to be bringing it home. And I think like a big thing for us is we hadn't won back-to-back Munster titles in a few years. So it was really good to get that win.
And you've won Munster Senior Camogie title and a Munster Senior Football title. So, and yourself and Hannah Looney, to be fair. So, with the footballers, that's 2 out of the 3 trophies on offer. The next one is the All Ireland. How do you think you're set up for a real assault on that title, Libby?
I think like everybody in the camp now has been very good this year. Like we've put in some great training. And I think one thing is our panel is absolutely massive this year. Like no one's guaranteed a start, and that's what you need. So like yeah, it was great to win the league and now to win the Munster as well. But this is the big one, and hopefully we'll get the 2 group games out of the way and drive it on again. I'm not sure who we're playing now next off, but we have a couple of weeks to kind of gather ourselves again and back with the preparation now for the All Ireland series.
I think it's a full month before the ladies footballers are back out again, and I know Evie Fitzgerald, the manager, is given a kind of a down week this week and off week, but there's probably no rest for you because the Cork Camogie team is out this weekend, this Saturday against Kildare, so you probably don't have any rest. So how hard is it for you, Libby, to manage everything, to kind of to juggle both, to juggle both the Camogie and the football?
Yeah, like it can be difficult at times, but I think this year of all the years, the management have been very good to us. Like, other years we might have been trying to sort it out ourselves or be like, oh, we'll go here now and just sorting it between ourselves. But this year they've been on to each other the whole time and they're really making it so like we don't have to make any decisions. It's just, okay, you're with Camogie Tuesday night, with us Wednesday night, and that's really helpful just because you can focus on training and putting in the best performances of training and stuff and not worry about all the other factors. But yeah, like I think we'll have the game now this weekend, but then we'll have a week off, so it's not too bad. And I suppose the fact that we have a couple of weeks off of football, no matches, that definitely helps focus on Camogie for the couple of weeks, so we kind of can't complain. We have the best of both worlds in a way. But yeah, I suppose just making sure you're keeping on top of the recovery the whole time is a big thing.
And I know for Paddy Murray and Evie Fitzgerald, like you said, the lines of communication are open there and they're in constant contact. But you're not the sort of player, Libby, I don't think that will put your hand up to say you want to sit out the game. So is it hard for you when they kind of say we must rest you now, Libby, we must take you off halfway through this game because you want to play every game, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Like as in, I suppose the lucky thing is, and the thing you always want to be is fit and fresh and ready to go. And free from injury, but it is tough when you think you have more to give, but you're being saved for another match and stuff like that. But no, look, as in I'm just wanting to give my best to both teams, and if that means not playing a different match, that's fine with me. Like I suppose the one thing is it's tough when it comes to club and everything like that. Like I rarely get to go down to club training or even play any club matches. Because just the demands of the inter-county scene. But no, look, as in I'm happy to be able to do it, and I'm glad they're very accommodating.
We've spoken before about, I suppose, Cork's history with dual players, and it goes in both the men's and the women's game. Is it very important that you feel that dual players are afforded the chance to play both codes? Like, thankfully this year, and touch wood, there's been no kind of clashes that we've seen in recent years. So I think it's very important that there is that chance for players to be able to play both camogie and football.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like as in, I'm delighted to be able to do it. Like as in, if I had to choose tomorrow morning, I wouldn't know what way I'd go. And like it was always a dream of mine to get to play for Cork in camogie and football, and it's a dream come true. So I think it's great, and it's a pity it doesn't happen, in other counties. I suppose with Cork, we've just had a great history, and it's kind of, say, Breach and Rena, like one of the biggest names. They've led the way for us. So we're just following in their footsteps. But like it's definitely happening in other counties, and it's great to see. And you just hope it doesn't run out, because I know it is getting tougher every year, but it's great to see. So yeah.
And you obviously, like, down in Kealkill, like, you've a bit of a trek up to the city for training and stuff. And we had an interview with your football team at Melissa Duggan last week, and the Southern Star just talking about, she just made a point about ladies players get no expenses. And when you see the likes of yourself, Libby, up and down for training, probably a couple of nights a week, I can't imagine how much you train up and down with the footballers and the camogie team. Is it something you'd hope in the future that ladies players will get expenses, like, so you'll at least break even and you're not having to dip into your own pocket to kind of to play for your county?
Yeah, like, isn't that it? You can't be asking for too much, but it's just the fact of not being out of pocket kind of thing. Yeah, like, I'm very lucky now. I have good parents looking after me, and I'd never be stuck for diesel money or anything like that. But it is, and it's when you're in college, it's grand because you're only over the road. But I'm home now for the summer, and it would, like, the miles add up fairly fast. It would be great to see. I don't know how it would come about, but if someone could get involved, it would be brilliant to get it just even a little bit back. Would be brilliant.
If there's any local car dealership listening to this podcast, Libby is on the road 24/7. She'll be up and down that road from Kealkill to Cork, so it's a chance worth pursuing. We'll try and get Libby a car or something for the rest of the year. But Libby, come here. Thank you so much for joining us again. Congrats on a great weekend, and best of luck for the rest of the summer. Hopefully we'll be chatting to you again.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Kieran.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports Podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.
Welcome back to the Star Sport Podcast. Now, as we alluded to in the first two sections of today's show, it's an extremely busy period for sport in West Cork, with the Munster ladies winning the Munster Championship last weekend and the men, their male counterparts, taking on Kerry in the provincial decider this Saturday evening. So that can only mean one thing, Kieran. We're set for the bumper Southern Star Sports section this week.
Yeah, as you alluded to there, Jack, it's the Munster finals take precedence in this week's Star Sports section. We have 8 pages on the Cork and Kerry senior football final this Saturday evening. That includes interviews with Brian Hurley, Rory Dean, Rowan McCarthy from the Cork camp. We also have a special profile of Mark Collins, the Castlehaven and Cork footballer who has been so key to Cork over the last couple of years. We also have interviews from the Kerry camp with Peter Keane and Sean O'Shea, who was a UCC student and helped UCC win the Sigerson Cup. So he's the Khmer man, goes to college in Cork and he plays with Kerry. We have also the Cork ladies. They won the Munster football final. So we've talked to Aoife Fitzgerald about that fantastic win for them. The Cork Miners are in the Munster final against Kerry as well this Saturday evening. So it's very much inter-county heavy this weekend. But there's soccer there too. We do our Southern Star Team of the Year from the West Cork League, which is well worth
any place for me.
We do our
Do you have a First Division Team of the Year maybe?
We have a C team that Joe McCarthy is busy working on, but I haven't seen your name in the reckoning for that either. So there's always next season.
Yeah, there's always next season. But I kind of want to be on the Team of the Year this season. But look, say la vie.
But there was talks on Baltimore that you're a one-season wonder. So you really have to back that up, Jack. And we'll maybe this time 12 months you might kind of force your way into the subs or something like that. So it's another action-packed sports section. And I just want to mention too that this Friday evening in the Parkway Hotel in Dunmanway is the launch of the Sam Maguire Sevens football tournament. I'm just mentioning it because it's the night before the Munster football final and they have a great lineup there. They have Conor Coonahan, Graham Canty, Noel O'Leary, Teddy McCarthy, as well as a couple of players from the Offaly 1982 team. And also from Cork Lady footballers, Libby Coppinger, Emma Spillane and Dunmanway's own Melissa Duggan will be there. It's just a great night to spend before Munster final. There'll be fun, crack guaranteed. Again, it's the launch of the Sam Maguire Sevens, which is a brand new football competition that will be held on Saturday, September 7th, organised by Sam Maguire's and Downey's GA Club. So if anyone is in Dunmanway or West Cork on Friday evening, It kicks off in the Parkway Hotel at 8 o'clock, and it's just think it's a good way to spend the night.
I know you've obviously emceed some big events in the past. There's obviously footage of you all over the internet guiding Gary and Paul through one of their first interviews post the Olympics. And if you have a similar job of work on your hands Friday night with 12 guests, I think.
Yeah.
But how do you feel going into this big event as MC with now 19 Star Sport podcasts under your belt? You're pretty much a professional broadcaster at this stage, so I'm sure there'll be lots of laughs on hand at the Parkway on Friday.
It's all down to it's all down to the Star Sport podcast. Getting my tongue tied there. It's been a learning curve here with you, Jack. You know, you've taught me many tricks in these 19 episodes, and I think we're getting better and better and better. So this is my Munster final on Friday night. I got my championship haircut last week. I'll chicken, veg and pasta all week. Get a bit of a rub down, I think, on Friday evening, and it's all gung-ho for an 8 o'clock throw-in, and I just hope I can talk a good game. Well, I talk a good game. I hope I can just follow through now and deliver on the pitch now on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. And just on a more serious note before we go then, obviously you touched on it with Libby Coppinger and with Melissa Duggan in last week's Star Sports section. It's just the thing about expenses for the Cork ladies footballers, and today news broke that the Mayo ladies footballers, who had a similar arrangement, an arrangement which was basically no expenses for the Mayo ladies footballers, well, they've struck a deal with Top Oil. So Top Oil are now going to provide fuel cards for the ladies Mayo footballers. So do you think that's something that's realistic that could happen for the Cork ladies footballers, or do you simply think the Cork County Board should be supplying them with expenses, especially for the girls who are travelling down from Dublin, from Limerick, the girls travelling up from Beira? What do you think needs to be done to improve matters? That's
definitely a step forward with the news from Mayo, and fair dues to all those involved in that. I think, like Aoife Fitzgerald said before, it's tricky with ladies football because the finances aren't there. You just don't get the crowds at games, you know. Kind of the Cork ladies could win an All-Ireland final in September, and then the following February they could play their first league game up in Mallow, and you might get 200 or 300 people there. So you just don't get the people through the turnstiles to make the money to be able to give it back to the players in terms of expenses.
But that kind of doesn't really hold either, I don't think, because if the Cork County Board can, I know a lot of the money would have come from Croke Park, and they find themselves in massive debt because of.
But they're different county boards. The Cork County Board and the Cork Ladies Board are totally different entities. There's obviously at the moment,
and the ladies football and camogie are separate from the GAA. But and surely there should be some way around to. They're playing the same sport, they're doing the same amount for their communities.
There's been talks the last year or so about the amalgamation happening, that the camogie and ladies football will go under the GAA umbrella, and that needs to happen. If that happens, I think kind of expenses will be one of those kind of that'll be on the in trade to sort out straight away, because it's a no-brainer. Like the ladies footballers and camogie players should not be out of pocket for playing inter-county, especially the players down here in West Cork. They have a long way to travel up and down to this city for training and for games. Even Libby the weekend just gone, like kind of up and down from Kealkill to the city, and then she goes to 6 Mile Bridge and she's going to Dungarvan and she's driving home after and stuff, and you have to pay your own way with diesel. And Melissa Duggan having to pay her own train tickets up and down twice a week from Dublin to Cork just so she can train. You know, kind of players should not be out of pocket. It is a big positive news what's happening in Mayo. Hopefully someone in Cork, a big oil company or anyone involved like that can spot an opportunity to make a difference, because these players, they put in such effort. Like, they train just as hard as the fellas, to be fair. They do, and they such commitment and such love for the game, and you just should not be out of pocket for playing for your county. So again, it's great news up in Mayo, but it'd be fantastic to see something similar happen down here in Cork.
Absolutely.
And again, thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast. We'll be back at the same time next week. So if you enjoy these shows, please make sure to rate, review and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, or wherever else you listen to the show.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.